Hey everyone, Loopy here. Today I want to talk about one of the first big complaints people bring up when they say they hate AI. And honestly, I keep running into three complaints that all get tangled together like headphone cords in the pocket of my wizard robe. Data centers, stolen IP, and all the jobs disappearing into the digital wood chipper. So we're going to take them one at a time in the order that makes the most sense, not necessarily the order that makes the YouTube algorithm happiest, because the algorithm already has enough snacks. After a long and ponderous ceremony involving eeny meeny, several coin flips, a medium, an astrologer, a suspiciously opinionated Ouija board, and one confused raccoon who may or may not have been an oracle, the decision has been made. Today, we're talking about data centers. Noise, water, electricity, and the much bigger question hiding underneath all of that: who controls the machines? So let's get to it. There's absolutely no denying that data centers can be noisy, energy guzzling, water consuming, giant industrial beasts. That complaint is real. If a massive data center shows up near your town and suddenly people are worried about water, power, noise, air quality, land use, who gets the benefits, who gets stuck with the bill, those are legitimate concerns. Nobody should be hand waving that away with, don't worry, it's technology. That is not an argument. That's a bumper sticker with a server rack behind it. But here is where the story gets slippery. Data centers existed long before this current AI boom. The internet needed data centers. Streaming video needed data centers. Online banking needed data centers. Social media, cloud storage, surveillance capitalism, cat videos, doom scrolling, and every photo of your lunch that you ever uploaded all needed somewhere to live. AI did not invent the data center, but AI is absolutely becoming one of the biggest reasons companies want more of them, bigger ones, faster ones, and more powerful ones. So when people say, I hate AI because data centers are bad, we need to slow that down, because yes, the data center problem is real, but if we aim all our anger at AI as if AI itself went to the zoning board and said, hello, I would like to make the humans sad near a cooling tower, we miss the actual decision makers. AI didn't sign the water agreement or choose the town or decide to plug into a stressed electrical grid. AI did not look at a community and say, you get the noise, I get the profit. People do that. Corporations do that. A few executives and billionaires do that. Investors drive it. Governments allow it, and that distinction matters because if we blame the tool instead of the control structure, we never fix the problem. We just yell at the hammer while the guy swinging it quietly buys another factory. Now, this video is not just about data centers as massively greedy buildings. It's about what those buildings represent, because massive data centers are not just where all kinds of computation happens. In the age of AI, they are where power concentrates. Electrical power, economic power, political power, informational power, and eventually, if artificial general intelligence or AI singularity gets anywhere near what people think it will, absolutely civilizational power, which is not exactly the kind of thing you want locked behind a corporate logon screen owned by 6 billionaires and a board of directors named maximize shareholder value or else. That is not a governance model. That is a supervillain origin story with better stationery. So let's talk about why the biggest tech companies are willing to dump breathtaking amounts of money into AI infrastructure. Why are they building data centers like dragons stacking treasure? Why are they buying GPUs like the fate of the universe depends on who has the most silicon? Why is everyone racing? Because the prize is enormous. And I don't think most normal people have been given a fair shot at understanding how enormous AGI or the singularity, if those things arrive, do not mean a better chatbot. They mean a potential change in the operating system of civilization. We've lived our entire lives in a world where humans are the smartest known things on Earth. Not the fastest, not the strongest, not the best at smelling things, thank you dogs, but the smartest. The fact is baked into every institution we have, every school, every job market, government, business, even military, every economy, power structure. Now we're building thinking machines that may eventually do massive amounts of cognitive and physical labor, better, faster, cheaper, and without sleeping, without lunch breaks, without boredom, without vacation days, without fear of radiation, airless moons, deep sea pressure, or the emotional devastation of a mandatory team building seminar with Team Todd. This is not an interesting small invention. This is not just another app. This is Prometheus stealing fire, except this time the fire may also learn accounting, warfare, poetry, molecular biology, and how to manipulate your aunt on Facebook. So no, I don't know exactly what happens next. Anybody who tells you they do know exactly how this ends is selling something, afraid of something, or has not spent enough time being confused by reality. But I do know this. AI is one of the biggest things to happen to humanity in a very long time. Probably ever. And that means the question of who controls it is not a side issue. It is the issue. Because if all the meaningful, world-changing AI lives inside corporate data centers, then regular people are not really participants in the future. We're customers, we're users, we're data sources, we're subscription plans with thumbs. We're AI billionaire cash cows. And maybe, if we're very polite, the system will allow us to ask it for a recipe, a resume, or a motivational quote about productivity while it quietly automates our jobs and reports our behavior to whoever owns the server. That future is not good enough. Not for me, and I hope not for you. So because I'm apparently allergic to having a normal, relaxing life, I bought an AI machine. Not the best machine on earth, obviously. I did not accidentally build Skynet in a motorhome, but it is better than average. 48 gigs of graphics memory, 64 gigs of RAM, 4 terabytes of fast SSD storage, a fast modern CPU, enough horsepower to experiment with local models, image tools, video tools, agents, memory systems, and the weird little digital gremlins that live in the cracks between toy and, oh my God, this is the future. And what I've been learning is this. When AI is local, when it is open, when it is not trapped entirely behind a corporate interface, it feels different. You can experiment, you can break things, you can learn, you can build, you can make it serve your weird little project instead of only being allowed to touch the clean, shiny, sanitized version approved by corporate legal and investor relations. And I am not saying every guardrail is bad. Some guardrails are necessary. Some safety work matters. I'm not out there saying, give every teenager an unrestricted robot army and a button-labeled apocalypse. That would be bad. That would be what experts call a whoopsie. But there is a difference between safety and control, between protecting people and locking the future inside a few corporate fortresses, between saying, let's be careful, and saying only the richest entities on Earth should be allowed to touch the most powerful tool humanity's ever built. And I reject that second one completely. So what do we do? What about data centers? What do we do about noise, water, and power? First, we stop pretending this is some impossible mystery sent down from Mount Algorithm. We already know how society handles powerful industries that can harm communities. We make rules. We use zoning. We regulate pollution. We regulate mitigation. Transparency. You don't get to dump poison in the river just because your quarterly report has feelings. If a chemical company is dumping hazardous waste into the local water supply, we don't say, well, industry is inevitable, so everyone nearby should just develop a beautiful relationship with cancer. Nope. We make laws, we set and enforce standards, we make the cost of harm higher than the cost of doing it right. And data centers should be treated the same way. First, power usage. If you want to build a major data center, you should have to provide clean power for it and show where that power comes from. Not with a little magical accounting trick where you technically bought renewable credits from 3 states away and now you're coal-powered dragging it to wear a tiny eco hat. I mean real clean power, solar, wind, water, geothermal, new power, additional power, power that does not make the local grid worse for ordinary people. Second, water. If the design uses massive amounts of fresh water, especially in a water-stressed region, then the answer should be simple. No. Not no innovation, not no AI, just no lazy, extractive, community-damaging infrastructure. Use different cooling, reclaimed water, and closed-loop systems where possible. Only build where the environmental cost makes sense. And if you're a company worth hundreds of billions or trillions of dollars, maybe, just maybe, you can afford water reclamation, better cooling, better insulation, and infrastructure that leaves the community better off than before. Crazy idea, I know. A corporation doing something useful for the place it lands on? Someone alert the economists, one of them may faint. Third, noise. Noise is not magic. Noise can be reduced. Soundproofing exists. Engineering exists. Barriers and distance and design exist. If your giant temple of computation sounds like a jet engine making love to a leaf blower, then maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't get to build next to people's homes and then act shocked when they object. These problems are solvable. They are not cheap, but they are solvable. And when we're talking about infrastructure built by some of the richest companies in the history of the species, not cheap is not an excuse. It's a corporate budget line that should never for a second be more important than people. The reason these problems are not solved is not because humanity lacks the technical ability. It's because those in power are hungry as hell for more and racing. They want the advantage in AI supremacy. They want the moat between them and all the lesser AI. They want the model that gets there first. They want the platform that runs it all. They want the compute that gives them a kind of supremacy never before so distinct on this planet. They badly feel the need to beat the other corporations. They must beat China. They want badly to be first to whatever comes next. And when the powerful are racing, ordinary people are often told to stand aside or get run over, and damn it, be grateful for the dust. No, thank you. Dust is not a retirement plan. So here is the pattern I want you to notice. The answer keeps coming back to control. Not is AI good, not is AI bad. Those are toddler questions wearing adult shoes. The better questions are who owns it, runs it, benefits, who pays the cost, who gets the access, who gets locked out, who gets told trust us by people known to be looking out for not your best interests. Nope. AI needs to be under the control of the people, not only corporations and billionaires, not only for-profit structures whose first legal and cultural instinct is to turn everything into rent and personal profit. So us, the people, communities, researchers, artists, schools, small businesses, local builders, open source developers, co-ops, public interest institutions, people with GPUs in spare rooms, people with weird ideas, people who do not have $1 billion but do have curiosity, patience, and enough stubbornness to learn what a CUDA error is while quietly questioning every life choice that brought them to this moment. That's the future I want, a decentralized AI future, a people-powered AI future, a future where we are not all forced to rent intelligence from the same handful of companies. Imagine small neighborhood-scale compute nodes, not one mega data center sucking down the resources of an entire town, but many smaller systems distributed across the country, in backyards and on rooftops, next to the solar cells that power them, heating the swimming pool while cooling the quantum core. Homes, libraries, schools, community centers, co-ops, small businesses, some used for local services, for public models, for creative work, or science, some used for people learning how not to be helpless in the next economy. Would that solve everything? No. But it would definitely mitigate a whole slew of issues. Would it need standards, security, coordination, and serious engineering? Of course. But those are a given, no matter what. And is it a direction worth exploring? Absolutely. Because the alternative is sitting back while the biggest companies on earth build the intelligence layer of civilization and then charge us rent to talk to it. Rent we can't pay because it stole our job. And I'm not spiritually prepared to become a tenant farmer on Lord Algorithm's digital estate. Now, to be fair, centralized data centers will have a role. Some workloads need massive scale. Some training runs require enormous coordinated compute. Some science, medicine, weather modeling, robotics, and engineering work may need infrastructure for beyond what a whole machine can do. I'm not saying abolish all data centers. Again, as usual, not black and white thinking, shades of gray and even color, because that would be silly and not the fun kind of silly. I'm saying do not let massive corporate data centers become the only meaningful, useful path to advanced AI. Do not let safety become the polite word for monopoly. Do not let efficiency become the polite word for control. Do not let trust us become the governance model for the most powerful technology humans have ever built, because we have seen that movie. The soundtrack is ominous, and somebody always says, surely the corporation will do the right thing. About 12 minutes before the dinosaurs get loose. So on our first major AI complaint, we have a real problem. Data centers can be noisy, use too much electricity, use too much water, burden their communities, and deepen centralization. They will become industrial monuments to a future ordinary people are not allowed to own. But this is a solvable problem. This is the important part. It will not be solved by pretending everything is fine. It will not be solved by yelling AI bad at a toaster. It will not be solved by handing the whole future to billionaires and hoping they suddenly develop souls after the next funding round. It will be solved by pressure from us, by laws we pass, by public understanding, by open source work, by local compute, by people learning enough to stop being dazzled into obedience. And that is where I urge you to join us. Learn with us, argue with us, correct me when I'm wrong, add what I missed. Become dangerous. Not dangerous like build a murder drone in your garage. Please don't do that. Dangerous like informed. Dangerous like independent. Dangerous like hard to manipulate. Dangerous like a citizen who knows when someone is selling them a cage as the only solution besides extinction and calling it convenience. Because right now, the cage is being built very quickly. Very quickly. And some of the bars of that cage are made out of data centers. Before we wrap this one up, I want to mention one AI thinker who points in a different direction, Ben Goertzel. Now, I'm not saying I agree with everything he says. I'm not joining a fan club and sewing his face onto my jacket, but he is one of the people who's been talking for years about decentralized AI, artificial general intelligence, open networks, and the idea that AI should not simply be locked away inside corporate fortresses. He is connected to Singularity.net, and he has worked around projects like Sophia and Grace, the humanoid robots that got a lot of public attention. Again, that does not mean he's automatically right about everything. Nobody gets that deal. Not Elon, not Sam Altman, not Ben Goertzel, not me, not you, not even the Raccoon Oracle, and frankly, he seemed pretty confident. But when someone is saying maybe advanced AI should be decentralized, open, and distributed instead of controlled by a tiny elite, I think that is a conversation worth having, especially when the largest players keep acting as if the only safe future is the one where they own the keys. That should make you suspicious. Not hysterical, not conspiratorial, suspicious, curious, awake, and consistently paying attention in exactly that way. That's the posture I want us all to have. So as you learn more about AI, remember this. We have alternatives we have not explored, most of them. The future is not automatically corporate. The future is not automatically decentralized. The future is not automatically owned by whoever bought the most GPUs this year, unless we let it be. So, like, follow, comment, and join me for the next one, where the eeny meeny genie says we are going to talk about the next great AI panic. AI stealing our art, music, books, ideas, voices, faces, likenesses, dreams, vibes, and possibly that one poem you wrote in high school and wisely hid from the public forever. Copyright be damned. Apparently AI is coming for your intellectual property. Or is it? Well, we'll talk about what's real, what's nonsense, what is complicated, and what is just people screaming because the future kicked in the door wearing roller skates. For now, as always, thank you for watching. See you in the next one, and have a wonderful day.